Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vajjayanam, Namo Loe Savasahunam, Eso Panchanamukaro, Sauva Pava Panasano, Mangalanam Cha Sauvesim, Padamam Havai Mangalam. Jai Janendra, Jai Janendra. You know, yesterday I forgot one slide, and yesterday we were talking about who is Mithya Drashti and who is Samyak Drashti. So Samyak Drashti is the one who has a rational perception, and Mithya Drashti is opposite of Samyak Drashti, who doesn't have rational perception. So if you take a cow, unfortunately my computer not cooperating with me with my animation, but if you look at the cow, Samyak Drashti or Mithya Drashti, they would both call a cow is a cow. But Samyak Drashti person would think that this is living being just like me. This cow soul is just like me. While Mithya Drashti would think that this is animal. You can beat him, you can do whatever you want to do just for getting the milk. So that is the difference. Whenever we see any 1 cent, 2 cents, 3 cents, 4 cents, we just consider that soul is just like ours for whatever bad karma that soul must have done. That's why they have taken the birth into subhuman form. So this is again talking back to Anukampa, compassion. Each Samyak Drashti soul always shows Anukampa or compassion towards all the living beings. So actually what I did was there was a cow and then each words comes up, you know. But unfortunately, I don't know what happened, it doesn't work. So, other one is Mithya Drashti would think living in Vibhav. Vibhav means non-self disposition or affected by delusion. And Samyak Drashti lives in Swabhav. That means it's unaffected by any passions or any desires. So that's the difference between a Samyak Drashti soul looking at a cow and a Mithya Drashti cow. So let me get back to, somehow that slide didn't came yesterday because I transferred 2000 word into 2007 and something got goofed up. So let me get this slide which we're seeing on a computer, on a screen. Yes. So that's 115. Hey. So this is spiritual texts have divided the world in this substance into 3 categories. Gne, hey, worth knowing. Gne, should be given up. Should be given up. And Upade means worth adapting or internalizing optimally because that's central to liberation. So one who has enlightenment or has a Samkit or enlightened perception is capable to know or discriminating between what is worth knowing, what is worth giving up, and what is worth practicing in one's life, which shall lead to liberation. We'll use those words later, so that's why we're trying to understand what those words are. Okay. Sure.
Western religions like Christianity, they believe human
Agree, agree. And which is the same thing in a Muslim. Right, right. Agree. Agree. And I didn't know one of our friend went to Makkah for a Hajj, and when he came back, that every person who goes for a Hajj, they kill one goat or a sheep for everyone. So 2.5 million people visit Makkah, and just imagine how many killing is done. Right. Well, that's again, that's mithyatva. How bad mithyatva can go. Agree. Agree. Agree.
So how would you, what is their stance, right? Because they're not, I mean, when we talk about delusion and Mikhailo, they don't really have that intention.
Well, this is why you remember that slide we saw about Bhaktamar, that I went to Krishna, I went to Shiva, I looked at all the different religion, and then I realized Bhagwan said that if you don't like something, you don't want to do that to some other animal, and that animal cannot speak. And that's why he says that I always came back to Arihant Lord, and I got all of those answers. So that is the key, that until you learn about different religion, and then agree. That's But that's why Bhagavan says that don't believe me, you experience yourself. Say, do you like pain? If you don't like pain, how would the animal, why would animal would like the pain? It's running away. Even a little ant, you go nearby and she will try to run as fast as they can. So those are the and they are taught that this is the only true religion. Anything else is fidal. That is, yeah. But ours doesn't say, you go look around, experience yourself, and then, decide, ask questions, So that's what. Anyway, these are some of the characteristics to attain, who has attained samyaktva. Consider things carefully, decide rationally, study and analyze things carefully, not make decision based on emotion and passion. Take decision not influenced by fear or favor. Yesterday we talked about the fear, the Chandakoshyo, Nagin and Bhagavan Mahavir, or the deer story, that don't be fearless. Shed karma, because decision is motivated by like and dislike. And that goes to the passion. Take up the vow in a clearly reasoned, dispassionate manner. That's it. So just like the sun and its rays, Samyak Darshan and Samyak Jnana are concomitant. The purpose of knowledge is know everything exactly the way that is. So the word concomitant is accompany. You know, perception, once you have perception, you can accompany knowledge. But if you don't have a perception, your knowledge is not accompanied by a true samyak darshan or flowless samyak darshan or flowless perception. You know, that's where I like the word flowless, because when we destroy our inner enemies, we become flowless because we don't have those kashaya, and that's the one made Aryan Lord completely flowless and achieve nirvana, and that's what we call Paramatma. Knowledge is part of the soul from beginning. In fact, consciousness, perception, knowledge are the defining invisible attributes of the soul. But this knowledge manifests different ways. You know, if we don't have control over our passion, then passion takes over and we manifest as per anger. But if we have a Shuddha Bhav, your consciousness manifests as a quiet person. So if we take care of our different leshyas, you know, the Sukla lesya would always have a Shuddha Bhav, and it would manifest in a kinder, gentler way. Now, one who considers Swatattva, his own soul, to be Upadeya, immerse himself in it, and considers Paratattva, external object, living being, to be Heya, is free from doubt, delusion, confusion, and is said to be have a Samyak Darshan. So you know what to discard. You know, Par needs to be discarded. Swa we need to keep, because Swa is Atma. So as per Sanskrit grammar, the Samyak has three main meanings. See, Samyak has the darshan, we saw perception, darshan had 10 meanings, you know. Now we looking, now Samyak has many meanings. These are the another three which you can find in the Samyak Drashti soul. Prasasta, praiseworthy, faith-wise. Sangat means proper, and Shuddha, undiluted, unblemished. Prasasta, what is meaning of prasasta? Has two meaning: moksha, and 5 disposition of the soul that leads to liberation. Sama, shama, equanimity, samta, samveg, desire for liberation. We know where our goal is. Our goal is to achieve liberation. So that's we keep it in mind. Nirved, disregard for worldly object. You don't have any sensual desire or, you know, worldly desire or material desire. Asta, deep faith. Again, you know, we keep saying that Samyak Darshan is a faith in 6 eternal truth and 9 tattva. Unshakable faith. And anukampa, of course, compassion. When perception is prasasta, most suitable for liberation, because it is accompanied by tranquility, desire for liberation, indifference to the material world, strong and unshakable faith in the path of liberation, deeply rooted to universal compassion. Kamemi sauva jive, sauve jiva kamantu me. It becomes appropriate and pure. The soul attains enhanced purity. This purified soul is known as Samyak Drashti soul. Another meaning of Samyak Darshan is aviparit, not contradictory. And Samyak Darshan signifies seeing things exactly as they are. You see exactly they are, you know exactly they are, you understand as they are, you act upon as you see them. So it's all together, so there is no doubts that there is something wrong in my belief. Conflicting, incompatible, irreconcilable, inconsistent, all of those, understanding of any scripture shall lead to heightened delusion and increased distance from enlightened person. So anything against Agam, anything against Jain scriptures, if there is a contradictory, and if you don't clarify, there is going to be always contradiction. But you need to clarify and get that delusion out of your mind. But when a person understands the truth and develops correct faith in understanding of the scriptures, he attains enlightened perception and progresses on the path of liberation. When we take the meaning of Sanskrit word darshana to be faith, adjective samyak is added before it. So just darshan doesn't have that much meaning until you add samyak. And we talked about what samyak meaning is, yesterday. Now, I don't know if anybody remember this Gajsukumal. Actually, he took a diksha during Neminath time. And he was just recently married. And his father-in-law got upset. He said, why did you marry my daughter if you were going to take a diksha? So see what he does. When he was meditating, he puts the charcoal on his head. In all that pain, Gajsukumar didn't move and remained meditated. So this is called equanimity, and he attained liberation. There is another, this is Marus Matus. No krodh, no rag, no anger, no attachment. He jiv tu roshnakar ragnakar. There was a monk, but he didn't remember. You can give him some simple Namo Ariyantanam and he will forget. And his guru tried so many things and finally said that just remember Marus Matus. But he forgot, instead of Marus Matus, he said Mastus. But he understood the meaning of Marus and Matus. No krodh, no rag, no anger, no attachment. That was in his heart. And he attained liberation just by that word only. So, there's so much power once you have that faith. You remember the story of Anjan Chor? And one of the businessmen saw the Anjan Chor. He stole some merchandise. And there was a law in that town that if you steal something, they prosecute you and they hang you. Sorry, am I okay using that word? Well, they would punish you. Sorry. They would punish you. And what happened? This businessman felt sorry for him. So he said, let me give you a glass of water and you'll be fine. And he said, just say Namo Ariya. He said, just say Namo Ariyantanam. But by the time he was going to get his punishment, he forgot. So he said, Janam na janam set vachan parmanam. I'm sorry, I forgot what said, but whatever he said, I believe that. And when he got his punishment, he was born in a heaven. So one simple word of true faith, that's why today Dhirubai was saying that in Mahavidya Kshetra, in third and fourth ara, people were very honest. You could tell him something and they would understand. But now in this fifth and sixth ara, we are all politicians, We want to dig out, if this is saying, where is my result? I'm doing all the things I should be doing and I should be very materialistic or something. So we analyze a lot of this stuff. So it's harder for us to achieve that kind of faith and those kind of results, So there is a Gujarati, there is a story about in a Kumarpal, Kumarpal Desai. You remember he writes a lot of stories in India, and he wrote this story. So those Tana, Adad, it's one grain, but when you soak them, they turn white. So the message here is that when you get rid of the krodh and rag and anger and attachment, you turn white. And white is Shukla Dhyan. All the people who are Suddha Bhav, they wear white. So this is a little example in our book. Say you take that coat of rag and dvesh and you become Shuddha Bhavi person. All your thoughts are pure. I soaked those. I couldn't find those on a Google, so I had to soak those dana. See, and then she wonders, say, what am I doing with these 5 grains?
I was wondering about that.
Well, I wanted to prove that this happens. This is that story, those who know it's Gujarati, this is the story came in a newspaper, that just one word can change your whole life, even though you can't remember. My story is I go to kitchen to look for something, and then when I go there, I forget what I came for. So I think we're going to end this one. So this is all about, and then we're going to go through the next slide. Okay, let me go through here. Give me a second, and I'll get. Yeah, this is the cow. I did animated, so one letter comes on his own, and somehow I did that in 2000, and this is 2007. When I switch the file, my animation goes away. But otherwise, it would come Mithya Drashti, then later comes Samyak Drashti. Each one, so one word would come. It's just trying to make a little interesting, but anyway, technical difficulty, I guess. Now chapter 2, characteristic of Samyak Drashti. So how I connect to here. So sometimes we wonder, is it easy to attain Samyak Darshan? How easy it is or how difficult it is? So one who has conquered or diminished or subside ignorance, false belief and delusion can attain Samyak Darshan. So remember yesterday we talked about Darshan Saptak, Mithya, Mishra and Samkit Darshan Mohniya Karma. I was telling you that you can do diminish, subside or destroy. Then you are on your way to attaining Samyak Darshan. So this is again, ignorance, we talked about false belief, delusion. Once you subside or diminish or conquered, you are on your way to gaining Samyak Darshan. Attaining Samyak Darshan is extremely difficult and unlikely for one who has not freed himself from ignorance, false belief and delusion, and tremendous passion. And that tremendous passion is Ananta Bandhu Kashaya. That's the example of Mahavir. Remember, he poured lead into that while singing going on, and then the thorns were put in his ears. So the whole goal is to stay away from Ananta Bandhu Kashaya. And that ignorance, we talked about Gausalak, oh sorry, what am I doing? He was calling himself to be he was saying himself as that he had absolute knowledge. He used to call himself a Kevagnani. And when he saw that Bhagwan is here, he got very upset and he threw Tejalasya. Those monks used to have those power. We can throw a fireball. So even he was in contact with Mahavir Swami. He was full of darkness of ignorance. Sometimes, some soul may have been into Samova Saran of Arihant Lord, but we may be still going around transmigration. And some Jeev, they call Abhavya Jeev, they cannot attain, they cannot get rid of their ignorance. It's like some person can have a sperm to produce child, or some women cannot do it, or man can do, cannot. So same way, Abhavya Jeev cannot achieve liberation. We're going to examine what Samyak Darshan is and how it may attain. Does not imply that Darshana was missing from the soul. Now it has been created. Soul always has a Darshana. It's never bereft of it. Darshana is a part of inherent quality of the soul. Perception is always present. When the perception of the soul is purified, it becomes Samyak. When the perception of the soul deluded, it becomes Mithya Darshana. Attainment of Samyak Darshan is not the attainment of a new quality. It's already hiding in our soul. All we need to do is wake them up, like in a dormant form. Samyak Darshana may be defined as perceiving, recognizing and understanding that which is constant and eternal in its truest, purest and highest form. If we plant the sunflower seeds, we get sunflower plant. You find a cherry tree, you get a cherry. You plant any trees and give them, if he gets sun, if he gets all the nourishment, it would grow to whatever you have planted. So if you plant a seed of Samkit, the fruit is liberation. And that's the reason we do Phal Puja, right? When we go and do Satyo and we put the fruits on the top, telling that we're wishing that, I get the greatest fruit of my life, which is liberation. When I was a little boy, my mom, in a mango season, they used to buy karandio. You know what karandio is? It's like a big basket. And they would have a mango and you could smell all this mango. But she wouldn't let us eat any mango. And I always wondered why. And she said, well, tomorrow morning, first mango is going to the temple. He said, after I do puja, and when I come back for lunch, you can have a mango. And I never understood, when I was a boy, I said, why is she doing that? Because, mango was so right and, everybody loved the mango. But this is why we put mango on there. Does Samyak Darshan arise on its own or does it require an external agent? In truth, no guru or no scripture can grant you Samyak Darshan. But they can help the seeker to realize the truth and help him to develop the faith in it. It's like this, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. So nobody can grant you Samyak Darshan. So we're talking about external agent, we can't see anything here. But now if we turn the lights on, we see everything. That light is Samyak Darshan. It's there, but we just have to, like I was telling you yesterday, 120,000 volts of light can, you can see everything on a stadium, even a little baseball. So it's there, all we have to do is find it. Suppose there's a beggar, and he's poor, but somebody gave him a $2 and he buys these lotto tickets and he got a multi-million dollars lotto ticket. Did anything change in him? I mean, it's all in his mind. He hasn't even collected the money, but he thinks he's a rich man. He has a vast amount of money. Beggar is no longer poor. He is now rich man. Substitute the beggar for a seeker and a winning of millions of dollars with Samyak Darshan. This should make it clear the role that external factor plays in one attainment of it. Like we talked about Naisar in a Mahavir Swami, that Jain Muni came and he attained Samyak Darshan, and then in 27 life, he attained liberation. So Jaina's enlightened teachers and Jain texts do not create any new substance in our consciousness, but help us to get rid of the darkness and delusion. The seeker already possesses this treasure, infinite perception, knowledge and conduct, strength and bliss. Simply help the seeker to realize this. We know that we can achieve infinite knowledge. Even though that we read something and forget after 5 days, especially me. The soul is overflowing with knowledge, perception and bliss. Do we have enough faith that this is true? Since eternity, we have been undetermining ourselves wallowing in self-pity and considering ourselves to be a worthless. Now we remember Srimad Rajchandra, right? His soul was very powerful. Sorry. You know Satavdhani? Everybody knows Satavdhani? So Satavdhani is the one, he has a good power of attention and recollection. For to Satavdhani you can say 100 items in a one sequence, and you ask him after 3-4 hours, he would repeat all of those 100 items. You tell them to do in a reverse form, he would be able to do that. And this is all power of our soul. This is a glimpse of power of our soul. So we believe that we have an infinite, our soul has infinite power. We start, attaining and go more towards Samyak Darshan and then Gunsthana, one by one. He can play Chopard with 3 people, playing cards with 3 players. At the end, he will call out all the cards. Heard words of 16 sentences of different language, and he would call out all the language which he's never heard before. Composing verses in 16 diverse topics. These are all Satavdhani. And Srimad used to perform a show where he showed how fast he can, remember. And Srimad used to say this is power were merely a drop in the ocean, that the power of self were infinite. Some of his admirers suggested Srimad to tour the foreign country and show his ability of these powers. But he refused to suggest that he could not observe religious discipline in foreign country. So Srimad thought wide publicity of his exceptional powers may hinder his march towards the self-realization. And this was done in 2014 in Bombay. A monk mathematical puzzle, memory and focus. He did 200 items. And his name is Ajit Chandra Muni. In 2014, he performed in a one big auditorium, Dvi Satavdhani. And Guru Maharaj spoke about what people witnessed was not an exercise in a memory, but power a soul can achieve. And this was tapping into vast potential of the soul. So, from this example, we know that we can achieve that knowledge. Even strength of a Tirthankar Vardhaman, that Dev turned into a cobra to see is he really brave or not, So he's riding on the cobra and puts his fist, and Dev finally shows up and says, I'm sorry, I was trying to test your strength. There's another story too, this become a monster playing, and then again, strength of Tirthankar Vardhaman, he just puts his fist on his head and he goes away. The day we truly realize our two eternal selves, we shall attain a real and correct understanding of who we are. Delusion, false belief, ignorance shall fall away, and will be able to experience the dawn of Samyak Darshana. This is emergence of Samyak Darshana. Once we know that soul is eternal, immortal, supremely powerful, infinitely strong, and indestructible, there should be no longing or desire left in us. Nevertheless, we hanker for sensual pleasures and material wealth and remain perennially dissatisfied with ourselves a lot. So it's just a matter of believing. There are two reasons for this. We do not truly believe or have a faith, or we do not truly believe that our soul has eternal strength and a vigor. Knowing about the immortality and infiniteness, the soul, and actually believing in them are two different things. Remember, we say that we collect all of this knowledge, but it just becomes information in our mind. It never gets into our conduct. And until we change our conduct, we don't gain anything. How can we tell that somebody has Samyak Darshan or not? Samyak Darshan may be invisible to the senses, but it can be experienced. But who would be able to experience? Only knowledge can answer that question. Once this knowledge is inculcated, once self-awareness awakens, everything becomes visible and easily understood. When we one experience a deep-seated desire to know the truth in all aspects, when one is strongly convinced in the infinite quality of the soul, when one's vision turns inwards and all the external objects seem worthless, then one may assume that he has attained Samyak Darshan. Srimad was in a diamond business, precious stones. And somebody asked him, he said, you are doing business in such expensive stones. He said, I don't see it as an expensive stone. I just see it as it's made out of carbon. It's the same substance as a coal. So that is the drashti one has to attain, and that is the art of living. There is a one para, how do you live with samyak drashti and sansar and not get attached to it. And that is the key of this presentation. Once we can attain that, we can progress. We're going to skip this. I think it's a little too much in detail. Yes, that's why. Anyway, we saw this one. Okay. In the opinion of learned Jain Acharya, the soul must have following three qualities in order to qualify for Samyak Darshan. Asanna Bhavyata, follow the path shown by Arihant Lord, destroy passion, be wise, kind, gentle, show anukampa, and be a bhavya soul, capable of attaining liberation. A bhavya soul, like I said, it just goes around and around in transmigration. Asanya Bhavta must be in a right place, a right time, right motivation, and right effort. This is what we see when the right time is. And that is that chart which we know when the journey of the soul. Dormancy or absence of knowledge, obscuring and other karmas. Remember we talked about Ananta Bandhu karmas and those, you gotta get rid of it. There is, Antaraya karma. Antaraya is the one always comes in your way. Antaraya means some kind of affliction, it comes in your way. So that is another karma we need to control. Sagnitva, a living being which has a mind. That's why when they born in heaven, he said, I want to take a birth as a human because this is the only place where you can think properly and achieve samyak darshan and then go to the moksha. So living being belong to any of these four states of existence can attain samyak darshan. Bhavya, Jeev, Sangni, Paryatpak have core necessary for attaining liberation. Mandakashai has to be Mandakashai. Jagrut, awaken all the time. Jnana Upayogi. And then Shubhalesha, if you have a black lesha, it's hard. Shubhalesha, yellow lesha, all Karan Labdhi. It is important to understand the process of attainment or dawn of Samyak. Sometime immemorial karmas have obstructed the soul quality. This karma may be broadly divided into 8 categories, which we saw yesterday. All the Jnana-Varni karma and all of that. Of 8, we know Mohaniya is the most lethal. He is a ringleader. Until the Mohaniya karma are ascendants, the other karma are also ascendants. There are 2 aspects of Mohaniya karma, both lethal to the soul. This is, we talked about Darshan Mohaniya and Charita Mohaniya yesterday. So diluted conduct follows diluted perception. Perception is strong, conduct will be strong. Perception is weakened, conduct shall be weakened. Both are lethal. Together with 3 subcategories of Darshan Mohaniya karma and 4 Charitra Mohaniya karma, which are those Ananta Bandhu karma. Total 7 we call Darshan Saptak. And iron covering that stops the soul from attaining Samyak Darshan. In order to attain Samyak Darshan, Samyak Charitra, one has to pierce through iron covering. They are like both buddies. We know this example, right? I don't have to go through. This is Ananta Bandhu karma. Now this is the worst one. How many minutes we got? 5 minutes? 10 minutes? 10 minutes? This is the Ananta Bandhu karma, is the worst one. It's like a stone pillar lying in a rock, so hard to erase. I just want to give you one example and then we can end. Okay. Wrong one. Suppose you're sitting out on a patio enjoying nice drink, mango lassi or something, and all of a sudden, you get a mosquito and you're not feeling right or whatever it is, and you say, like this, say, boy, I got it or something, You don't know what you created. If I just say that Ananta Bandhu karma, Nikitya Bandh karma can also only be shared by bearing the consequence. When you did this, what does mosquito do? Gives you a fever, malaria. Your fever can go as high as 106 degrees because of your karma. And if you go any higher than that, it's a danger. So just simple like this, and if you just do like this and something you did, said, oh, I'm sorry, I did this, or just go slowly, then even if you have a month kashaya, you may get 100 degree, 101 degree, or may stay that kashaya for a short time. Or with sankraman, you can change that ashubh karma to shubha karma. Daukar mantra can do that. So between those, all Ananta Bandhu is the worst one, and that's the reason it stops that samyak darshan. But so that's the main thing, is to you control. This is the Jain way, right? We take a little cup. Where I live, I live in a 3/4 of an acre land and I'm in the woods. We have all the bugs, spiders. We got cup in every room, you know. We capture them and take them to the tree, you know. So anyway, that's the, it's a good example of that fever. Because, you know, you always wonder that you create some karma, what would be the results? So result of mosquitoes is always some kind of fever. And you know, that tiny little mosquito, there are more people killed due to mosquito disease than any other disease in the whole world. In some country, more than a couple 100,000 people gets, you know, now you got dengue and all those, you know, the new is Zika virus. So, you know, you have to be very nice to mosquito. Please don't hurt mosquito. You know, we don't know what we can get. So we should be, I think we have to have this labdhi too, you know, which helps you to do spiritual attainment, attaining some, we won't go through each one. I mean, we'll go through fast each one. Ability to help the soul take a birth in a sentient 5 sense. Vishuddhi labdhi, unblemished state of the soul. Vishuddhi labdhi, you know, such a person questions, who am I, why I'm here, you know, all of those questions. So your inner thoughts takes over and we proceed in a right one. Deshna, we want to listen to Arihant Lord's teaching. Prayogya, labdhi is capacity of taking birth in a 5 sense being along with the mind. Karuna labdhi, Karan labdhi, sorry, in certain to attain samyagva. This one is for sure. So anyway, this we finished in time. Spiritual is seeded, germinated, sprout and blossom in the mundane. It is to be found as nurtured in the smallest of daily activity. You know, a little things can takes you a long way. So શાસન વિરુદ્ધ કંઈ લખાણું હોય તો મન વચન કાયાથી મિચ્છામિ દુક્કડમ. Tomorrow going to be the journey of the soul, and then we'll see how, you know, we'll try to finish, or at least you get to see what's in each presentation. Then I'll give you a e-copy. Huh? Yes, there are actually 10 of them all together. And this is just a warm-up because those 160 stanzas, those are so beautifully explained in a simple wording, and that gentleman Pradeepa has translated so good. You know, you just, all you have to do is concentrate. There is nobody needs to explain anything. It's written that good. So we'll get through few of them, and other one will do, you know, I'll give you, so tomorrow I'll just give you some preview. We got few minutes, right? 5 minutes, right? So I'll give you some preview of tomorrow. It's, oh, I should be doing on this. Sorry, I can't do that. But I gotta change on this one. Let me see if I can do that. One day I learned to do presenter view, and I always do it, and somehow it gets lost. Right. That's why I'm doing the old way, but you know, we just go. This is we're going from darkness to mithyatva to light of the samyaktva, and we'll go bhavya we did, but I wanna. This is Pudgan Palavartan Kar. That's what it took to where we are, and you know how much that is. This is a one Kal Chakra. Each one takes this many Sagropam years, 20,000 trillion, and we went around to get where we are, Anant Chovisi, infinite Chovisi. 1 quintillion is 1 Sagropam. You know, so I mean, it's just mind-boggling numbers. This Paravatan card, And that one Pudgal Paravartan Kal is this much, one Kal Chakra. Infinity Chakra makes one Pudgal Paravartan. Agree. It is, so that's why the main thing is we don't want to lose this. Now this is the same picture here, 1 and 2, we will come up to 11, but 1 is Nigod, 2 out of Nigod, and number 3 is Pudgal Paravartan Kal, and number 4 is where we are, fellow like me, where we are. Some of you may be, I'm pretty sure we have. But we've been going around this one for so many years. Ekindriya Jeev, Prithvikai Jeev, you name it, horse. The worst one is when you become like this one. We just saw on a Netflix that how carnival, what do you call Baku? Carnivore animals, they live and what it takes to survive. All their goal is to eat, survive and multiply. They eat their own. That was so scary. That was so violent. If you go over to Netflix, I'll give you which one to see. It was so scary. There were some dogs, they were so cruel. I mean, just looking at them, I said, you wonder, I said, did I go through this? And how long it took me to get out of those, to become where I am today. So this one we'll read through and hopefully awakens all of us that we need to get Samyak Darshan at any cost in this life. So thank you, Tejashbhai. You are, because of you, we doing this, and you are part of us too. So we have early dawn of Samyaktva. Ta deva dijya bohim bhave bhave pasajina chanda. Hey Prabhu Parshanathin, every my life, every time I'm born, give me Samkit Darshan, because that is the only hope for us. Michhami Dukadam, and shall we sing Naukar Mantra? Any of you mind? Bakui, can you sing Naukar Mantra? Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Uvajjayanam, Namo Loe Savasahunam, Eso Panchana Mukkaro, Sauva Pava Panasano, Mangalanam Cha Sauvese, Padamam Havaiman. So that took some animation. I had to find animation for each Prithvikai and Vaukai and all sorts of them, There's a Vaukai in there too, there's all sorts. There's tornado, there is a tornado, there's Upkai, rain. Anyway, I had fun doing this. I hope nobody catches up during the internet, so. No, the timing of Pudgal Paravartan Kal, this is where your Shraddha comes in a picture,